Hello, my name is James, I'm the Mayor of Jamestown, and today I'm going to take a look at the new changes that are coming to Marvel's Avengers from a new player's perspective and kind of give my opinion and thoughts on what the developers are actually doing with the game. Now, as I'm sure you're aware, Marvel's Avengers did not have a good start. Similarly to Anthem the year before, the game had a rough launch, very little content post-launch, and was just in a rough state. I've been playing the game for about the better part of a week now, and I've been enjoying my time with it, don't get me wrong, but it definitely leaves a lot to be desired. My main issue with the game is that there really isn't much in the way of content. Most of the time you're just going to be replaying missions, doing some dailies, and then kind of being done with the game. The main thing you can do, obviously, is grinding out gear, which, is to be expected with a looter. But sadly, this is one of those looters where the loot that you have doesn't actually change your appearance, which is a real bloody shame. Moving on from that though, the story just wasn't that interesting. It was really kind of boring and dull. I was so happy when I was finished with the story, because as soon as I was done, I could finally play the game properly and enjoy a character from start to finish, of which I definitely ended up doing. I was so happy when I was done with the story, so I could just pick my favourite character and get him to max level as quick as I wanted to. It made the game a lot more enjoyable. I enjoyed being able to just mindlessly play the game. Yeah, the areas get really boring and really samey real fast, but the gameplay loop, at least the gameplay of your favourite superhero, is really enjoyable. I think the problem with the campaign is it doesn't gravitate you towards a certain character. It makes you want to feel around for all of them, but that meant as soon as I found my favourite character, I didn't get to play them until the end of the game, because there was no point doing any of the side content until the main lot was done. That's my quick sort of synopsis of the game. Now let's have a look and see what the developers are bringing to the table. We have access to a lovely new hero, Hawkeye, who of which probably should have been in the game to begin with, let's be real now, but he's finally coming. In my opinion, it's a real shame that Hawkeye is very similar to Kate Bishop. They're both archers, as far as I'm aware. Kate Bishop trained under Clint in the first place, so it makes sense that they're very similar characters. But they, seriously, they couldn't have picked someone else? Did they have to make Kate Bishop and Hawkeye? Could they not have picked one and then had an interchangeable skin between the two? Maybe have Kate Bishop and then have a Hawkeye skin or vice versa? I don't fully agree that we need two bow-wielding users, especially when PlayStation is still supposedly supposed to be getting Spider-Man, which, wow. We'll see if that one ever actually comes true. Either way, though, even if the character is very similar to Kate Bishop, which I can't sort of agree or disagree with at the minute, just because I haven't played him yet, because he's not out, it's good to see that they've actually made a new character for people to enjoy, because I think new characters is the thing that are going to keep people coming back, along with new content. This second Avengers gives up, that's it. The game is going to die. It's going to stagnate. It's just not going to be in a good spot. It's basically going to be Anthem after the first month. Also got a new story, new operation, new biome, and a new villain in the form of Maestro, which better mean we get an actual boss. There are 3 actual bosses in the game. The rest are mechs, warships, or something else. The variety of enemies you go up against in this game is shockingly lacking. I get AIM, they have AI technology, blah, 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 blah. It's really dull fighting the same enemies all the time. And considering that there are 2 actual bosses that aren't just robots or warships is ridiculous. So I'm hoping when they say that the new villain is Maestro, they mean he is an actual boss and isn't just a reskin of Abomination. Love the fact we're getting a new biome though. The game needs more areas to play in. I remember back when I was playing Warframe back in the beta. I love that game, don't get me wrong, but back in the beta, there were 2 tile sets. You get bored very quickly of seeing the same thing over and over again. That, I imagine, is going to happen with me with Marvel's Avengers sooner rather than later. Also got Harm Room customization, which hopefully is going to be a great way to test out new build ideas, because the Harm Room is a nice idea at the minute, but it isn't really an actual training room. Yes, you can use it as one, but you can also use any level as a regular training one, because the Harm Room, you are fighting like you are in any other regular mission. So I think being able to have a training area where you can see your damage numbers would be excellent. I'm hoping that is what they mean by harm rune customization. If not, that is going to be a massive oversight they should fix as soon as bloody possible. Next up, we've got the replayable campaign, and honestly, this shouldn't be a feature. This should have been with the game to begin with. Honestly, I am never going to play through the campaign again. I did not enjoy it that much. I think I've made that stance perfectly clear, but I don't know why it wasn't in the game to begin with. The mission already exists, you've played it, tick it off. We know it's possible because they've done it with other post-game missions. There are several missions you can just go back and redo. I don't understand why that wasn't the case with the main campaign. Sure, maybe you can make the argument that you didn't want it cluttering the map screen. Okay, make it a toggle, or just make it its own separate area. Give people the option. It should have been here to begin with. I'm not giving them props for something that should have already been there, but thank you for doing it all the same. Next up, we have faster loading times and frame rates for next-gen consoles, so the Xbox Series X and the PS5 will be enjoying this one. For like the 5 people in the world that aren't YouTubers that own a PlayStation 5 or any of the other next-gen consoles, I hope you enjoy this fix. As a PS4 player for the game, there is a big problem with loading screens and frame rates, but you kind of get that with current gen technology. It was to be expected. I knew what I was getting into when I picked up the game. So it's good to see that the future versions are actually being optimized in a way that would make the game more playable and more enjoyable for those that actually have access to it. Don't know what that's going to mean for people cross-playing between PS5 and PS4, if that's possible, because surely if the PS4 players are still loading into the map and the PS5 players have already loaded in, I'm guessing they just get to go out and do the mission while the PS4 players are still loading. I don't know. Maybe there'll be a fix for this. I have no idea. Last but not least, I thought I'd touch upon the one that more or less everyone that has been playing the game since release is complaining about, and that is slower experience at higher levels. Now, allow me to just give my 2 cents on the fact that this should have been implemented in the game from the beginning, so it wasn't an issue now. Yes, I understand the developer's point of view of at higher XP levels, it should be slower, and there should be a consistent curve. Yes, that is how a level up system in every game ever has worked. I don't know why they didn't implement this to begin with. They should have. That was their mistake. And if they wanted to fix it, probably should have done it quietly. Because the fact that they've actively gone and said publicly, oh yeah, by the way, higher XP levels, we're going to have to slow that shit down because it's too fast. I know what it might sound like to the developers, but to the community that are playing the game, it sounds like you are trying to gatekeep the end game, which is the fun bit of the game, might I add, by forcing people to play the game for longer, which honestly is going to have the reverse effect, and people are just going to be like, oh, well, what's the point of me grinding out my favorite character if it is going to take me hours to get to their optimal playstyle? It's just not right. By slowing down the endgame XP, you are making it take longer for players to get to the best part of their character. I've currently only got one character close to level 50, and that's 4. I've loved every minute of playing 4. Every time I got to a new level, I enjoyed being able to add a new ability or a new mastery or whatever the other one is, the secondary. It has been really fun building him up, and it has been great the speed it goes at. I feel like every level I'm either leveling up once or twice, and I can move on and get my character to a point where I'm quite happy with him and then start grinding out the gear. Because as we all know, in a looter, of which Marvel's Avengers is at least trying to be, the best part is the gear. And you can't have the best gear until you get to max level. And if you slow down the max level, which apparently is only like 3 to 4 hours according to some people, if you really try hard to max out a character, is a pretty decent amount of time to get to max level. Honestly, anyone that's looking to re-download the game to play Hawkeye and the new content, they may not want to stick around to get him to level 50. At which point, you don't get to play the character in their best light. You've created a character. You want people to see him at max level and to see how much fun he can be after you put all that effort in. And yet, here you are, effectively making a fix that no one asked for, and should have been done at the beginning. It's an RPG level system. You level up, you gain experience, and then you level up. When you level up, the experience that you get for the next level slows down, and it takes longer. That is regular progression. Should have been in the game to begin with. The fact that you only added it, 6 months after release, after everyone and their mum has gotten used to how it is now, seems like a really unnecessary idea to help slow and kill your game when it's already struggling really hard. Honestly, the best part of Marvel's Avengers is the combat. Once you get your character to level 15, you've got all of his skills, it is a lot more fun to play. The game opens up, it's a lot more entertaining, and then you can do the gear and the loot and whatnot. It's a lot more fun and interesting. Are these fixes and are these improvements and updates to the game, are they going to save it? In all honesty, probably not. And I say that with a relatively heavy heart. If the developers can keep adding to the game, improving what they've built, stop making decisions that slow the game down to a crawl that would prevent new players from wanting to continue playing the game, then maybe, just maybe, the game has a chance. I imagine anyone that is interested in this game right now is really looking forward to playing the new hero. I know I am. I'm looking forward to logging into Twitch at some point tomorrow and giving it a go, hopefully. But if they slow down, or if they make a character that is very similar to a previous one, the game is going to struggle. They need to add more content. They need to keep players coming back for a reason rather than just customizable costumes. I personally couldn't give a toss. It's the content that I'm going to keep coming back for. New characters, new stories, new operations, new biomes, new villains. We need it to keep the game from getting too stale. Yes, the combat is fun, but when you are fighting the same thing over and over and over again, and they all pretty much look the bloody same, it's going to get very tiresome very quickly. And I don't want that from this game. When I first picked it up, I was like, I'm not sure what I'm getting out of this. I'm not enjoying myself. But then by the end of the game, and I actually started doing post-game content, and the combat finally clicked for me, that was it. The game became suddenly a lot more interesting and engaging. It would be a shame to have that seen and wasted due to developers just giving up on the game prematurely. Like Anthem. So, in conclusion, can the game be saved? I don't know. That's up to the developers. The game is pretty dead at the minute. Hopefully, with these new updates, it can give it some kind of life, and the developers and the community can continue to push it forward as best as it bloody well can. I've been James, the Mayor of Jamestown, and I'm off. Goodbye.